Hi, I'm Nathan. This is my channel for the love of knobs, and I'm here with Josh and Kris, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we learned on the California BDR trip. Just breathe. That's the other one that we hear a lot. Just breathe.
I wanna get to your clothes, gotta get it right now.
So I noticed Josh has got a new bike. So Josh, what did you get? Tell us why you got it.
So, as you all know, I started the CABDR on a KLX 250, which was my entry into a road bike, street legal bike, and ran into some troubles right out of the gate and decided to upgrade to an Africa Twin, which I love. It's amazing.
What do you love about it?
I love that it's big, it's comfortable, has lots of power. The seat, the KLX, that was my biggest problem. Was the seat was so uncomfortable, so this seat is super awesome. It has a million settings that I'm still trying to figure out, but overall I love it.
Also, Kris has gotten a new bike since the California BDR trip. And Kris, tell us about what you got and why you got it.
So I did the California BDR on a DR650 and now I have a KTM 690, and what I found with the DR650 is that I was using all of the suspension possible and outriding the suspension, which led to some very exciting moments.
That was crazy.
So I had the choice, upgrade the suspension or get a new bike, and I came back and rode my friend's 690, and it is just a phenomenal bike, and I think we bought one the very next weekend. We had to drive to Idaho because there weren't any other ones in the Northwest. So yeah, I love it more than I thought I would. It was a little challenging to go from a DR650 to a 690, but once I fell in love with it, it's stolen my heart, and I think it's like the best bike ever.
The whole CABDR was a really big learning experience for me. I discovered that I needed a bigger bike. I was a little bit better rider than I thought I was, so I needed a different bike.
Yeah.
All of my gear, I mean, I think you just live and learn. Like, you just have to get out there and try stuff out and realize what works and doesn't work. Because I was like, I gotta buy a new bike, I gotta get new gear, I need guards, I need blah, blah, blah. I was like, this is costing way too much money.
Was it worth it?
It's all worth it. It really is.
You may notice that we're all sitting here together.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're just still on speaking terms.
Our friendship survived the CABDR.
The upside of missing the expert-only section is that Ron West reached out to us while we were riding the California BDR, kind of towards the end, and said, hey, we'd love to meet up for some coffee in Bishop and kind of, get your guys' opinion of the route, and reached out to Kris. So Kris, tell us about that experience.
It was really cool. I'd been interacting with Ron on ADV Rider and on Instagram for the time that we were preparing. And then when he reached out on the route, we had missed him because we were riding the California BDR, but it was okay because he was actually going to be just north of there. And he invited us to come and spend the night with him and tell us all of our thoughts about the route. And it was such a cool experience because for us, he was a movie star. We had watched him in this movie like 100 times. And then we got to go hang out at his house, and he was such a lovely, down-to-earth, awesome person. And he just wanted to know what was meaningful and interesting and awesome to us about the route because he had been such a huge part of the creation of it. So that was so fun to get to hang out with him. So he was also open to Nathan interviewing him. So we're going to show some pieces of that interview in the next minute.
So tell us about your history with motorcycles.
So my dad bought a 1965 Honda, what was it? A Trail 90. So it was the first motorcycle that I was ever on. And it was funny because I didn't ride it for the sake of riding the motorcycle. I found out that my girlfriend lived on the outskirts of town, as did I. So I found out that I could ride the bike from my house to her house through the foothills before I got my license. So the bike was a way to get to her as opposed to actually riding.
How long have you been riding in contemporary terms?
I started probably about, I think is maybe 2013 or so. And I haven't really been riding adventure bikes much at all. I, like so many people, I was flipping through the channels one day. I didn't even own a motorcycle. Flipping through the channels, and I came across Long Way Down. I thought, what is this? And so I watched that whole series. Then I bought Long Way Round, and fortunately, because I think Long Way Round is a better series, but I watched Long Way Down first, so I thought that was incredible. So I went out, I bought an F650 GS because I couldn't afford a 1200. Loaded it up and rode it to Hyder, Alaska, and just had a great time. And then just kind of put it away. I sold that bike and I didn't get back on adventure bikes until I was introduced to the BDR.
Okay, so in the film you mentioned that you're a second generation Californian.
Yeah.
And where did you grow up in California?
Bakersfield. So I grew up in Bakersfield, and then after that I went to college up in Northern California. And while I was in college, my parents moved to the LA area. And so then I just kind of ended up in the LA area.
Yeah, and then as far as the planned Northern California BDR route, will you be a part of that?
Yeah, although probably by the time I'm an old dude already, so I don't know that I'll be. But yes, so there is another ambassador, Trevor Morton. He's kind of doing the heavy lifting for the route. We originally thought that the Backcountry Discovery Routes might want to do California back-to-back, and so we kind of hastily put together a route. We've been working on it for quite a while, but so we have a route, but now that it looks like it's going to be a few years out, we're going to go back and just kind of rewrite some different areas and make sure we don't miss something that's really cool. But it's definitely in the works. It'll most likely end or start just about where, or fairly close to where the Southern California route ends, and then make it up to the Oregon border. What's amazing is Northern California is like a completely different country compared to Southern California. Riding Northern California, some of the areas that we went to, it's like the Pacific Northwest. There was one Forest Service road that we went on. It was amazing. It was like someone had taken a straight edge and just made this dirt road. It was absolutely smooth. We were riding this road for probably 10-15 miles, and Trevor, we pulled over and go, okay, we've got to find some other way because this is beautiful, but it's like riding pavement but on dirt. But just absolutely gorgeous areas. It's lush, it's green, it's completely different. I think it'll be substantially easier from a technical standpoint. There will be some technical areas on the southern part of the northern route, but as you get north, it's just beautiful, easy adventure riding. It should be really gorgeous. Yeah. I volunteer for another organization called the Southern California Mountains Foundation. We work in conjunction with the San Bernardino National Forest. And I didn't know a whole lot about the BDR other than I'd seen the Colorado route. And I would work the motorcycle shows for the Southern nonprofit. And the great thing about working the shows is when you get there before the show opens, you get to talk to other vendors. And I'd always run into Paul Gillian at Tortec, and I go, Paul, when are you going to do a California route? He goes, it's in the works. It's it's a big state, and every year I'd say, Paul, when do you do California? And then finally one year I said, Paul, a lot of it's already done. There's something called the State Motorized Trail System that was developed in California back in the 80s. I was never finished, but I said, the bones of a route are there. And he said, well, why don't you come to our fundraiser in Death Valley and pitch it? And I was like, oh shoot, I don't even own an adventure bike at the time. But anyway, so I did. So the entire time that I've been associated with the Backcountry Discovery Route, I've been focused on California route.
Do you keep in contact with any of the other film crew or members of the California BDR South?
Yeah, it's great because you really kind of develop a camaraderie, I guess. Mm-hmm. And we just a few weeks ago we finished. We had the annual fundraiser for the Backcountry Discovery Route at Anza Borrego, and so almost the entire crew was there. So Dan Shu lives in Southern California, fairly close to me, so we get to see each other quite a bit. Eli Woody, the amazing still photographer, he's in Southern California. So yeah, I do. And same thing at our fundraiser, Ina's there, Paul's there. Rob Watt couldn't be there this year, but we still communicate a lot. Even what's really cool is Quinn Cody. He and I continue to email back and forth. He is just the nicest guy ever, and so it's pretty cool. In fact, he invited me. KTM is in Marietta, just not that far from me, so I cruised over there, and he showed me his shop, and he was all excited to show me everything there. So no, it's really cool. I think these types of, you get thrown together for a full week, in our case 8 days together, and you're not exactly sure how the whole thing's going to work out, but everyone's just absolutely amazing. So it was an absolute wonderful experience.
The CABDR is amazing. I definitely recommend doing it. Pick some amazing people, plan as best you can, go with an open mind, and have a blast. You'll love it.
Awesome advice.